Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I'm going to work on a reel that I recently purchased. I got it as a used reel off of Facebook Marketplace. The fellow said that, well, he's been fishing them heavy, but he wanted to move on to the next generation. And, well, it came at a good price. This is a KastKing. It's the KastKing Royale Legend. This one is in a left-sided bait caster. And you can see the heaviness of the use. There's some accumulated salt along the paddles, and well, even the paddles themselves have a little bit of wear on them, but overall the reel is in good condition. I got it as a set with some other reels that he was trying to upgrade, and I had a lot of requests when I was doing a preview of my purchase from folks that said, can we see the inside of this reel, can we learn a little bit more about it, can you show us how to service it? And well, I thought this would be a good time to go do that. So that's exactly what we'll do. We're going to take this reel apart completely. We'll show you the insides of it. Maybe we'll even debunk some myths out there about some of the stuff I hear people asking me about. And well, let's get started. We're going to start by removing the exterior pieces and parts. To do that, I'm going to take the retainer clip off first for the handle. As I do that, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. My channel covers all kinds of service, repair, product reviews, a little bit about the fishing industry itself. We feature reels of the day just so you can learn about some reels, and a little bit of whatever it is that I feel is important or relevant at the day for you. And well, you can learn from it, and subscribing is the best way to do that because, well, you'll know when I post. Alright, this is a reverse threaded nut. It came off in a clockwise manner. Normally they would come off in a counterclockwise manner. And while I do this, removing the pieces and parts, I like to take care of the cleaning of them at the same time that they're pulled. So I'm going to use a kitchen scrubby and some rod and reel cleaner here. I'm using Penn Precision Rod and Reel Cleaner. That's kind of available online. It does a good job of removing a lot of films and debris, and also a little bit of shining up. And I like to use paper towels versus rags. Paper towels are disposable and you don't transfer dirt and debris and such from one project to the next. When I take my pieces and parts off, I put them into a parts tray. I use an old fast food container, but whatever it is that you use, just have that system ahead of when you start to remove the pieces and parts. The other piece of advice I generally give is when you are at critical junctures in servicing the reel, take pictures. That way, well, if you get stuck along the way, you'll have a reference point to find out what went right and what went wrong and how to get yourself unstuck. Alright, we've removed the star adjuster. There's a click mechanism with some tension washers underneath that. There's a flat washer underneath that goes on top of the bearing, and there's two rounded washers inside that go on top of that. And take all of that and put that in my parts tray. And before I get any more to that side, I want to come over to this side and remove the spool and the side plate. This is a switch here that should enable you to open up the gate, and then we should be able to press down. There you go, and should be able to pull out. There we go. Pull that off. This is your mag braking system underneath, and there is one ball bearing in there. Now you don't have to go any further than oiling that bearing. You don't need to take off all the mag components in there unless you're struggling with the mag components. Do notice that there is a stud here that's the locking stud that's going to wind up over here. But that's the service of your side plate. Your spool can come out. There is a bearing on the spool. This is an 11 ball bearing reel, so it has a lot of ball bearings in this one. And this one's got braid on it. I'll probably try to change it out. Why? Because, well, I just purchased a reel. The fellow told me it was heavily fished, but we never did get into talking about when the last time he changed the line was. And the last thing you want to do is take a reel fishing when you're not confident that the line is going to hold. Alright, the inside of the case is straightforward. It's nice and easy. I believe it's an aluminum case. And let's go ahead and pull the gear side now. There's two screws there, and one screw underneath here. That's why you had to remove the spool. You could probably do this with a regular screwdriver, or you can use a micro screwdriver. I'm going to go with the micro screwdriver because they look like they're pretty small from a threading standpoint. All right, if I need to, I'll switch back to my number 1 Phillips head. Yeah, this one will do fine. So I'm going to remove the one that's inside the spool. And that'll give us a first look at the internal workings of this reel. When you take your screws out, make sure that you note the position of those screws. So that was a silver one that's inside here. And then the 2 case screws are same color as the case, black. And that should help us remove the side plate, get underneath it, take a look at the gearing, do a cleaning and a service on that. Those go into my parts tray for safekeeping. We should be able to remove the side plate now. Oh, we got one more here. We've got a long bar, I think. Oh, not there. There it is. So we got a 3rd screw here. So case in point here, do not force anything. If you find that it's not cooperating with you, stop. Don't say, okay, well, I got this side out, must just be stuck, let's go jam a screwdriver in here and try and pry it. You will snap the case if you didn't know that that screw was there. Okay, that's where pictures will help. Now it should be able to just simply lift off. And you can see we've got a big gear and a small gear. That means we got a high leveraged ratio. Probably 7 to 1 or so. I have to go back and check. It's probably on the case here somewhere. Yeah, 7 to 1. There you go. Good guess. I'd like to say I knew that, but I didn't. But just looking at that gear, you know it's a big sized gear. Well, this will dispel a lot of the myths and misinformation about this reel. It's not a plastic reel. Got a nice hardy, looks like marine grade materials for the gear and the pinion gear. It has a plastic yoke. Most of these reels do. I don't think that would concern me at all. I'm going to remove those 2 yoke springs right away because I tend to lose them. When we remove the gear stack again, the bearing is the last one on before the anti-reverse clutch. And one of the things to notice about the clutch is its orientation. Now this is a left-hand sided reel. This has a plastic face up and a, oh, now we're in trouble because it's got 2 plastics. Normally that would be a metal side there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the way it belongs so that when I go to remount that, I have the right side up. If you don't put the right side up, your reel's going to turn backwards, but it'll stop when you try to turn it forward. I'm going to just lay that right there with the case. There is a ball bearing inside the case. I just noticed one of those 11. Let's go ahead and put the oil onto that ball bearing. All right, I like what I see on the inside of this case. It is substantial. It looks like a quality product all around, and we'll show you how to service it. I'm going to pull the main gear off now. Pinion gear came out with that. The yoke comes off with that. The click ratchet comes off with that. And then we have our drive for our level wind line guide. So you crank it this way, it will work. Now we want to remove the faceplate here. Let's just set that aside for a moment. I'll put the pinion gear in the case here. Click ratchet in the case. I'm going to leave the main gear there for a moment. I'm going to remove the 2 screws which hold the bezel because we want to service the pawl on this. Yeah, when I saw this come up, I knew, when I saw the listing, that it would be something interesting at the price. I was able to buy a couple of pen reels, and I was able to buy a few poles, and then I have this KastKing, and I have the KastKing Megatron, and To me, the value of what I paid was right in these two reels. The rest of them, well, the rest of them I don't have any intention of fishing, so I will service them and put them out there in the market. All right, we've removed the cap. That's going to enable me to remove the pawl. I want to check the pawl on both shoulders. There's dirt on here. Again, it's been heavily fished. You can see the dirt. I'm just using a fingernail and a paper towel to clean that off. The worm gear itself is nice and clean. Just a little bit of oil there. And on the plastic two drives there, those are fail-safes. So what those are doing, people will complain, oh, it's their plastic drives. Yeah, they are for a reason. Those plastic drives, in the event that you snag, it's going to prevent further damage. It'll chip a tooth on this. They're called idler gears. It's going to prevent you from damaging the reel further, and it's going to kind of almost be sacrificial, if you will. All right. With that on, we can replace the bezel. We'll move on to the next piece. All right, got those two. I left these right here. And this is why you need the micro driver. These are very small slots. And for me, sometimes, me and small pieces and parts, we don't play well together. Just put a little dab of fishing reel grease onto the head of the screwdriver to see if I couldn't hold the screw. That's doing well. One more time here. And that's one of the reasons I wear this protective glove, is I want to avoid getting most of that grease on me. I'd rather get it on the reel. And let's put this one in. Okay, back with that one. Again, you can oil the plastic, but the plastic is self-lubricating, so it's not necessary to do that, but you could do that. All right, I'm going to wipe down that trip mechanism. If you didn't remember the orientation on it, now's a good time to go check that out. So what happens, the way that this trip mechanism works, is you're going to trip down on your free spool release. It's going to set in one of these ratchets. Again, this is lefty, so it's going to turn opposite. That will kick this back up, push that out of the way, and enable you to engage your spool. We have a small washer underneath here. I guess we can leave that on the main gear. It sits on a kind of a stud there. And then we have what appears to be Carbon Tex washers inside. And a little bit of dirt or old grease. So I'm going to wipe the channel out there. Check the teeth. The teeth are very clean. The reel's been running smooth. So despite him having this out there on the water quite a bit, it doesn't show any wear, which I think is a credit to the materials. All right. If you have any questions on this reel or any reel, if you want to leave them in the comments section, I will try to answer those for you. We didn't remove the gear shaft, so I'm going to put a drop of oil into the center. And now we have a traditional 6 drag washer setup. These have got plenty of grease on them. It's optional to grease these. These have got plenty of grease on there. I'm just going to reinstall. There is a middle washer that has these 4 tags on it. They're going to sit in the recesses of the main gear. Just make sure you align them when you go to put this in. Just like that. One more washer up top. And the last of the washers here. And then, as noted, I want to make sure that I have this set properly in terms of orientation. Okay, this will be held in your side plate. Hold it. If you can turn forward, you've got it. And then when you go to back pedal, it's off. So this is set the right way. Probably set that main gear too soon. I probably had to put this pinion gear in first. No harm, no foul. When I started this wheel repair a long time ago, one of my friends told me you only need two things to be successful at wheel repair. That was a sense of humor, the ability to laugh at yourself, and patience. I think that's pretty much held true all this time. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm going to just pull this up because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get that stack back in. You don't have to remove it fully if you did what I just did here. This is where pictures help. Sometimes folks want to take this pinion gear and put it in upside down. Fully understandable, but not correct. All right, I'll put this back in. And I know I didn't reset it, but again, if you're driving forward in the case, you're fine. Back it up and make sure it grips, just in case you had a question. Those two little springs come next. One on each side. All right, and then we can put the side case on. Now, the click mechanism and the free spool release are integral to the side plate here, so you do not need to find any stud or anything else that needs to weave into the case. On some reels, like Abu Garcia Ambassadors and the like, you may need to do that. I guess we need to set this in here in the right, there we go, in the right orientation. All right, bring that back in. First thing to check is that you have a nice tight seam on this. We've got 3 black screws and 1 silver. I'm going to put the silver one in first because that's kind of central to this whole thing, and it should hold all of the case while you go installing the rest of them. All right, one down there. Grab the other 3. Now, if you like, you can put a light oil drop or grease on these screws. I'm not seeing any indication that there's any salting or corrosion or debris or the like on here. If you did find that, that's something you can certainly go ahead and do. Okay. So my grandson is left-handed and overjoyed when I find these left-handed bait casting reels. He gets to be my test. I like the left-handed ones as well. I'm naturally righty, as those of you that are watching can tell. But I like casting with the left-handed reels because you don't have to change your pole. You're going to throw this way, you're going to reel this way. You don't have to change hands with the pole. Okay, we have our spool next. Make sure you don't trap the braid on the way in. Seat that, and see, that's what I mean by trapping the braid. 9 times out of 10 when I do this, it must just be me, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to trap that braid, and then when I go to put the side plate back on, you have an issue and then the reel's tight. So I'm going to grab our side plate now. Remember, it came in from the bottom, so go ahead and set that down, press that in, turn this up, and that locks automatically with the switch. We're in good stead there. Next up, we want to reset our bearing. And there's the flat bearing washer. How do we know that? Well, we took pictures. Trusted our memory. Sometimes our memory's not very good at being trusted. And we can bring the click mechanism over and those tension washers that are sitting inside of that. Remember, this is a left-handed reel, so your threading is going to be opposite on this. And you need to make sure that it's going on square when you do this. Don't force anything. You may cross strip either the gear sleeve or the internal threads on your star adjuster, and you got to go find one. Alright, let's put this in and down. That click should start clicking in. There we go. That's just to let you know that the drag is running out. Next up then is your tension washer, your handle, and then tighten down that drag washer all the way before you put the handle on. You don't want to trap the star adjuster when you tighten down the bolt on your handle here. Same idea with this one. Take your time. It's a reverse thread. I'll tighten this one up. It always seems odd when you're tightening it from the left. Generally speaking, if you can find that this is perpendicular, or if you have a point facing it, then your clip will work without an adjustment. Let's put that tie down on, and we're lined up perfectly with that hole. That's just years of experience. And another small one is likely to bounce out on me, so we'll take a dab of grease here. Put that in here. So what have we done? Well, we took a reel that I purchased off of Facebook Marketplace. Got it at a nice price. Nice lefty reel. We didn't trust that just strapping it on a pole would be a good idea. We decided we're going to take it apart, service it, make sure that it is all in working order before we take it fishing. And we had a lot of questions from channel viewers about what's the inside look like, what are the materials and the like. So it was a good opportunity to do both. We haven't changed the braid out yet, but we're going to, because I just don't trust the braid. Not because I don't like it, it's just that I don't know. The fellow told me it was heavily fished, and some of the appearances of it is. There was some salting in here. The WD-40 took care of that. There is some wear on the metal plating there, but overall the reel is in nice condition. We wanted to make sure that it's not going to fail us when we go out on the water, so we will replace that braid. Took it apart completely. We showed you the nice big gear ratio inside of it. This is a 7-to-1 gear ratio. Boy, that's perfect if you happen to be going bass fishing and you're into weeds and you need to rip those fish out of there before they get hung up and tangled. That's a perfect size for that. Also, in the fall with bass fishing, you have fish that like to chase, right, in their feeding patterns. And, well, 7-to-1 is going to give them a chase, that's for sure. So we've done all of that, took it apart, showed you the interior, cleaned it, re-lubricated it, put it all back together again, and now it's time to give it a test. We're going to push down on our free spool release. We showed you how that worked with the case off. That should enable the reel to cast. And look at that, that casts beautifully. 2 ball bearings on there, we showed you. That spool will just spin and spin, right? Very nice. All right, should trip back up. We showed you how that works. Give it a ride. And then it's taken all of whatever the little issues might have been inside of it. It's taken it, cleaned it up, made it ready to go fishing again. Just check the drags. The drags are holding, and I always recommend backing off the drag when the reel is in storage. You don't need the drag acting as a vice, compressing everything and contributing to premature wear of those drag washers. Well, that's been a fun project. I hope you've learned from it. I hope you enjoyed seeing the internals on this reel, and if you have one of them, you now know how to service it. Before we leave, I want to thank our police, fire, safety, rescue, EMTs, and everybody dedicated to public service as a career. I appreciate everything it is that you do in keeping us safe and out of harm's way. I also want to take a moment to thank you, the channel viewers, for watching, encourage you to subscribe, and wish you a great day on the water or wherever your day may take you. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle.